This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in the yesterday's class, we've created automatic payment program basic configuration, and we created one vendor account and we were able to post payment using automatic payment program yesterday. In yesterday's session, what we did, we created vendor account, but in vendor master data, we did not provide any information related to house bank. Point number one. Point number two, in the invoice document also, we did not provide anything related to automatic payment program. In short, no house bank is maintained in the vendor account. No payment method is maintained in vendor account. Similarly, no house bank is maintained in vendor invoice. No house bank is maintained in vendor invoice. I will show the vendor account. I will run one more APP now, which we did yesterday, and then we will do further improvements in the APP to make sure how system is actually behaving. Let me go to business partner BP. Hundred 1001. I think not this one. Let me click on display vendor. BP. I want to find the vendor based on the name. Select the name here, and we have given vendor name as APP. Put APP. So this is what the vendor code we created yesterday, 100111. Copy this vendor account. Open the vendor line item report first. FBL1N. Put this vendor account. Give your company code. Click on execute. Currently, there are no outstanding invoices that are to be shown in the vendor account. We need to make sure we create one vendor outstanding. Before we do it, first let me show you vendor account information. If I go to this vendor account, first thing in the vendor general role, which is your BP role, go to payment transaction. If you go to payment transaction here, there are no bank account information which is updated here. In the business partner basic role or in the general role, if you look at payment transaction, if there are no information updated here, this represents no account information or no bank account information related to vendor is updated on the system. This screen exclusively talks about your vendor bank account details. This vendor bank account details are exclusively used for making the bank to bank transfer payment. If you want to send money from your bank account to your vendor bank account, you must store your vendor bank account details in the master data, which will be stored in the payment transactions of a business partner or vendor master. Currently, we did not update this here. This is point number one. Payment transactions related to vendor are not updated. Point number two, if you go to vendor master, let us verify this role FLVN00 vendor at company code. If I open this, if I pick company code, and our company code is DEIN. In this, if you go to vendor payment transactions, in vendor payment transaction, basically this segment relates to your automatic payment program. In this, no information is updated. There is nothing which is maintained in this. Let me post one invoice and then I will run one more payment and then I'll quickly show you how system is behaving if you do not have any information related to APP in the vendor master. At the same time, if no information is related to APP is updated in the transaction level. I'm going to pass an entry quickly. So now from now on, whenever you are going to test APP or any other process multiple times, do not post the data entries several times. So you're not supposed to pay attention on F-43 so many times. Because you know how to post the vendor invoice, you must know how to bring the invoice document or the test document immediately or at a quick time without wasting or without thinking too much. Your focus is supposed to be on APP process, not on invoice posting, because you already know how to post the invoice. For that, what you need to do, go to the same vendor account, vendor line item report, click on all items, execute. When you click on all items and when you click on execute, you are able to see two transactions. One is vendor invoice, the other one is vendor payment. Now, for you to execute this APP again, you need one more invoice. You need one more invoice. For that, what you will do, you copy the existing invoice document number. To copy this document number, which is invoice, how do you identify which is invoice, which is payment? Point number one, based on the document type. If you find a document type KR, KR represents invoice. Now to perform APP, you need KR document, which means invoice. Copy this document number 19, all zeros is 6. Control Y, if you press, you will be able to copy the data. Select and then click on copy. Next. Go to the screen F-02, FB01 or F-43. Anything is fine. Once you're on this screen, click on post with reference. When you're in a project, this is how you're going to create your test data. You're not going to go to F-43, select posting key 31, GL account, this and all is not going to be performed by you if you're in a project as a consultant. This is what you're going to do to create the test data when you're in a project. Put the old document number, company code. This document belongs to 2023. Because for us to test this, you need a test case. Test document, that is what you are going to do here. Select this, click on enter. It will copy the data as it is from the previous document. Whatever is there, it is being copied. If you want, you can change the header text reference. I'll put APP2. This is second case. Enter. And this is what you are able to see the document simulation. If you want to change the amount for your understanding purpose, you can change. Double click on the amount. Let's say I'll put 3000. Go right side, second line item. And whenever you get these amounts, just delete this amount, keep it blank, press enter, because we have changed this amount from 10,000 to 3,000. The group currency, which is not updated by us, that is representing group currency dollar value of previous amount 10,000. You will get this message, this pop-up. Just delete that group currency amount or dollar amount, press enter. It will automatically convert dollar amount for 3000 INR. Enter. Go to next line. Do the same thing. Star. Enter. Here also star. And click on go back. You are able to see the amount for 3000 rupees now. Here what I want you to focus on. You should focus on only at vendor line item. Double click on vendor line item. If you double click vendor line item, on this screen there are a couple of fields that are relevant to APP. Point number one is your payment method. If you see the option here, this is your payment method. When we configured APP yesterday, we created a payment method which is a single digit, either alphabet or a numeric key. What we configured was number 5. Right? We configured number 5 as automatic payment method. For this automatic payment program, you must input payment method in the invoice transaction, point number 1, or you must input the payment method at vendor master. At vendor master level, there is no information provided. At invoice level, I am not providing any information. In short, in this transaction or for this vendor, there is no data which is relevant to APP. Let me save this. I posted the document, but there is no information related to APP. Now let us proceed to APP to check how system will behave if you don't have any information related to automatic payment. Go to F110. Run date, I'll give today's date 30/06/2023. Identification like APP1. Anything you can put, 4-digit of your choice. Enter. First thing that you need to do is parameters. Click on parameter. Here by default system will take your run date as posting date, run date as document entered up to. Your document entered up to must be current date. Posting date should also be the current date. Sometimes you can change the posting date. You can run today, but you can put posting date yesterday. You can put posting date tomorrow also. As long as the period is open, it will allow any posting date from the opened period. Next one, company code. Our company code is DEIN. Payment method. We've created automatic payment program for the payment method called 5. Input payment method 5. Next payment date is always the date on which you are going to execute APP again, based on which system is going to decide what invoices to be paid in current run, what invoices to be paid in next run. So this you should always put the immediate next day. Even in real time you are going to put the same thing, or if you are working on a scheduled time basis, let's say in some companies normally automatic payment program is executed, let's say once in a week or twice in a week. Let's say every Monday and every Wednesday they will perform APP. If they are executing APP on Monday, they will put Wednesday date here. If they are executing Wednesday APP here, they will put Monday date in the next payment date. So that system will accordingly take which invoice to be cleared on today's run, which invoice to be ignored today for Tuesday's run or for Wednesday's run. That is based on your next payment date. As of now, I'll put 01/07/2023. I'll show all this practically with different examples. How system will skip and all we will see practically. Enter. Next one, put your vendor account 100,111. This is called your parameter. And one more thing that you need to understand when you process APP, one point that you need to understand here is APP contains 4 P's. There are 4 P's in your APP or automatic payment program. This point, what are the 4 P's in APP? People might ask you in your interview. So, first P represents parameters. Second P represents proposal. Third P represents payment. Fourth P represents printout. Clear? These are the 4 P's in your APP. Now we are at first P. First P, which is nothing but your parameters. If you go to SAP, you will find parameters here. This parameter is called as first P. Once you give the parameters, you are going to save this. And whenever you execute APP, one point that you should not forget, which is always your additional lock. You must enable additional lock in case if there are any errors, in case if there are any problems in the APP. If you enable the additional lock, system will provide you the lock why a particular invoice or a particular vendor is paid or is unpaid. If there are any errors, system will record everything in the log clearly. To enable the log, you should go to additional log tab. In this, blindly you need to tick 1, 2, 4. First one is due date check. You want system to check due date. Second one, payment method selection in all cases. You want system to select payment method in all the cases. Successful cases, at the same time failure cases. Invoice which is having clear instructions, there are no errors. In that also you want the lock. Invoices where there are no errors and invoices where there are errors. At that situation also you want the log. In short, whether the document is successful or unsuccessful, you want to create a log. For that you need to click on to. Third one, line items of the payment document. You want to see the line items that are included in each payment document. For that you need to tick this. First one, second one and fourth one. This is what you are going to tick even when you are in the real time. This is what you are going to show to your users as a mandatory checklist whenever they perform APP. Click on these three and then you need to give the range of vendor accounts. Currently, since we are executing for one vendor, you will give this. If you are executing for multiple vendors, you can simply give 1 to all lines. Not all lines, all Zs. 1 to all Z. Click on save. Now, if you go to status, you will find an option called parameters have been entered. System is telling parameters have been entered. Now, sometimes what will happen, whatever the parameter that you enter may be wrong. Sometimes whatever the parameters I enter may be wrong. Now, if your status is currently parameters have been entered, out of 4 P's, currently you are at P number 1. First P, which is your parameter. If you are only at the first P, which is parameter, this can be editable straight away. If you want to change parameters, anything that you have already given, you can simply go to parameter tab. You can change whatever you want to change. Because you are at that particular stage, changes in the current P is always changeable. Currently you are at first P, which is parameter. That is why you are able to make changes. Once you go to the next P, which is proposal, parameters cannot be changed. If you are on second P, first P cannot be changed. You can change only the second P. If you want to change first P, you need to delete second P. It is in the sequential order. You have to go in the sequence. You have to come back in the same sequence, reverse sequence. Assuming that the parameters are entered correctly, you have saved your parameters. Next, the moment you click on parameters save, you will come to status option. You will get the option called parameters have been entered. Once you see this information on the top, you will find two more options enabled. Option number 1, proposal. Option number 2, payment. Once you input the first P related information, this is called your second P, proposal. This is called your third P, payment run. Clear? Once first P, proposal is updated, second P, third P is automatically coming. Let us click on second P, which is proposal. Let me click on proposal. Now, the moment you click on proposal, you get a pop-up screen like this, asking you to select start date. There are two ways why you get this pop-up message. Option number 1, you can create the proposal immediately. Option number 2, you can schedule this proposal for a specific date and a time. I want to create the parameters now, but I want to schedule the proposal for tomorrow. I can put date as tomorrow, or I can put a specific date. Normally we don't use it. We will be using it on a real-time basis, which means when you click on proposal, you want to start the proposal immediately. To start proposal immediately, do not do anything here. Make sure start date is current date and click on start immediately. When you click on start immediately, this will happen at current time. The moment I select start immediately, I click on continue. It will start giving another message, proposal is running. you need to click on status, or you can press enter on the keyboard to update the status. Let me press enter on the keyboard. Now it is giving a message stating proposal has been created. Once this payment proposal has been created, you get three more options enabled. First one is your edit proposal, second one is display proposal, third one is proposal log. First thing that you should do is you should always open display proposal. The moment proposal is created, first you should display the proposal. To display, click on this display proposal. If I click on this display proposal, you need to pay attention what is this proposal list. If I click on this icon, this is red color icon. In this red color icon, you have an option called exception. You are able to see if you place the cursor on the red ball, it is giving you as exception. Now what I'll do, I'll go top into the edit, or I'll come back. If I come back to the payment proposal has been created, on the top I will find an option called edit. On the top I have an option called edit. In the edit you have first P proposal, first P parameter, second P proposal, third P payment. Currently we are at proposal stage where the proposal has been executed. Once proposal is executed, I saw the proposal which is coming out in red color. I saw the proposal which is coming out in red color. Now for you to make sure that your APP is working fine, you need to click on this display proposal. You must see everything is coming out as green by default. If everything is coming green by default, your APP execution is correct without any errors. If your APP is coming in red by any chance, there is something which is not meeting your criteria. You have given your payment criteria in the parameters. Anything that is meeting your parameter criteria will turn out green by default. Anything which is not meeting your parameter criteria will turn out red by default. Red means according to your parameters something is missing in this. Now according to our parameter, what we have given company code DEIN. This invoice belongs to company code DEIN. Parameter number 1 is working. Parameter number 2, you have given posting date is fine. Document entered up to, that is also fine. Second criteria you have given is payment method. Payment method you have given 5. If you look at this invoice, if you keep moving right side, let us see if you find anywhere payment method on this. Your bank account, bank key, all this information is blank. If you see this particular field, which is your payment method, currently in this field, which is your payment method, there is no data, it is blank. According to your parameter, you said company code should be DEIN, payment method should be 5. So first criteria, company code is DEIN, that criteria is met. Second criteria, payment method 5, which is it is blank. So according to your parameter, payment method must be 5, but here there is no payment method. This criteria is not meeting. Because of this criteria is not met, it cannot be the direct payment list. Since payment method is missing, your parameter is not fulfilled. Wherever your parameter is not fulfilled, that line item will come out as your output in red color. Anything which is coming as your output in red color like this is called as exception list. This is called as exception list. Exception list will not give you any amount in the outgoing payment. If you see at the bottom outgoing payment, it is 0. 0 because this invoice document does not meet the criteria of your payment. Let me go back. Once you are on the initial screen, go to edit. Go to edit. You are currently at the proposal. Go to proposal. If you go to proposal, you have two options. Look at only these two options. One is your proposal list, other one is exception list. What is proposal list? What is exception list? Proposal list means anything which is meeting your payment criteria. Whatever the payment criteria you have mentioned in your parameter, whatever the documents that are meeting your payment criteria, that will directly go and sit as proposal list. Anything which is not meeting your payment criteria, that will go and sit as exception list. In short, proposal list will come out as green color, exception list will come out as red color. If I click on exception list, if I click on continue, this is what you get as exception list. Now when you click on exception list, you will get a message at the bottom. This is the exception. This is the exception list. The reason for this exception, this is your error message number 016. Payment method for this run are not specified in master data or in line item. This is what system is telling as an exception. Why it is saying that this is an exception case? Because system did not find payment method. System did not find payment method either in the master record or in the line item. In the transaction or in the master record, you did not input payment method. According to your parameter, payment method is 5, which is missing in this. That is why this is called as your exception list. Now let me go to display proposal. In the display proposal, this is red, this is your exception. Now your target is to make sure the moment you click on display proposal, it should come as green by default. For this to make it green by default, there are several ways. Point number 1, go back, go to edit proposal. Let me go to edit proposal. In this, whenever you get this pop-up, always select all accounting clerk, leave this blank, click on continue. Double click on this line that you are able to see, and this will give you the detailed transaction list or detailed invoice list for that particular vendor. Select any one particular invoice wherein there is no payment method. If I select this payment method, it is giving you the blank for this vendor. Click on this line item, either double click or click on change on the top. When I click on change, this is what you are able to get a pop-up. From this pop-up, I can click on reallocate. Let me click on reallocate. Payment method, I want to give it as 5. Now there are two things that you have defined while making the APP configuration. Point number 1, you defined payment method. That payment method is what you are giving here. Point number 2, you have given something called ranking order. Point number 2, we have given something called ranking order. Normally system should supposed to take ranking order automatically based on the order number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you update. Since you are giving it manually, you need to select from which house bank you want this payment to be paid. I want this to be made from Axis Bank. I'll select the house bank and I will select the account ID. Select this, click on continue. I will save this, go back. Now if you see, this red has become green. This green means it is proposal list or the payment list. Save again, go back. Now if you see, payment proposal has been edited. If I click on display proposal, you are able to see green color and you are able to see the outgoing payment amount as 3000. Now what we did, we edited manually and we converted this exception into the proposal or payment list. Red symbol you converted into green symbol. Wherever there is some exceptions, you handle the exceptions manually. But when you run the APP, this cannot be the situation when you are in a project. If your user is executing, by default, whatever is meeting the criteria should come out as green. Reds are exceptions. Exception means there is some problem. It should not be a system issue. It should be the transaction is missing something. Now, this is what our target. The moment you click on display proposal, you have to get green color and you're not supposed to make any changes manually. For that, let's see what we need to do. First, I want to rerun this proposal. If I want to rerun the proposal, whatever the proposal which is already created, I want to delete it. To delete the proposal, you need to go to edit. Currently, you are at second P, which is proposal. You need to go to edit. Your intention is to delete the proposal. From this edit menu, open proposal. From the proposal, if you select, you get a list. From this list, our intention is to delete the proposal so that you can make the necessary changes in the invoice document or master data. You will again redo the proposal run. You will find an option called delete here. From the edit proposal, you will find an option called delete. Click on delete. It is asking you to, should the proposal be deleted? Yes, we want to delete the proposal. Click on yes. Now the proposal, whatever is created is deleted. Whatever the proposal is created, deleted. Now what I will do, point number one, I will display this invoice. This is the invoice that we posted just now for 3000 rupees. From this invoice, let me go to change mode. Here on the display mode, I want to switch to change mode. Click on this change icon. Double click on vendor line item. From this vendor line item, for executing automatic payment program, payment method is mandatory. Look at the field called payment method. In this payment method, you need to input the payment method that we have created. Our payment method is 5. Input payment method 5. Click on save. What we did, we have changed payment method in the invoice document now. Let us perform the proposal once again now. Earlier when we did proposal, either master data or transaction data did not contain the payment method. Now your transaction data contains payment method. I will click on proposal now. Start immediately. Continue. Click on refresh. Payment proposal has been created. Let's go to display proposal. If you go to display proposal, you are able to see it is coming out as green by default. Correct? Earlier it was coming as red, which means exception. Now if I put payment method in the invoice level, by default this is coming as green. If I select this, if I go right side, if I pick these three options, and if I keep it at the beginning, this is your payment method 5. This payment method 5 is given in your invoice level. In short, at the transaction level, I have given payment method 5. This house, bank and account ID are coming based on your ranking order settings. If you go to FBZP ranking order, bank determination, your company code is DEIN. Select this, click on ranking order. In the ranking order, what we have given payment method 5. In this transaction, your payment method is 5 and currency should be INR. If you see, in this currency is INR. If your payment method is 5, currency is INR, system is going to look at this ranking order. In this ranking order, system will select payment method and then currency. Whenever payment method 5, currency INR, these two combination is coming, it will look at the ranking order. It will go based on the sequence. In the first sequence, you have given Axis Bank. In the first sequence, you have given Axis Bank. Now it will select this Axis Bank. Once it selects the Axis Bank, it will go to the next one, which is your bank account. From the bank account, it will select Axis Bank, it will select payment method, it will select currency. Against this combination, whatever the account ID that you maintained, GL account that you have updated, this account ID is selected based on your house bank, payment method, and then currency. That is why it has taken AX011 here. And when you select this house bank and account ID, at this combination you have updated a bank GL account in FBZP. When this payment is posted, this GL account will be used. When this payment is posted, this GL account will be used 1 to all zeros 22. Next one, it will check for available amount. It will check for available amount. It is going to look at this house bank, this account ID, this currency. House bank, account ID, currency, and it will look at the amount that you are paying from this house bank. Current payment amount is 3000 or this transaction value is 3000. Your transaction value is 3000. System is going to check the available amount. It will check whether this bank account contains available amount 5000 to initiate this payment or not. If the payment amount or if the available amount here, whatever you updated, is more than your payment amount as per the system is 3000. If your available amount is more than this amount, which is 3000, it will allow you to proceed further to make the payment. If your available amount is less than this payment amount, which is 3000, it will not allow you to perform the payment because it will tell your amount available in this bank account is not sufficient to perform this payment. Now, this is actually not your bank balance. This is not your actual bank balance. Normally, we don't maintain available bank balance and on real-time basis. To skip this setting, we will always put all lines. This is called as masking. This is called as masking. In case if somebody is asking you why do you put all lines in your available amount, this is only for the masking purpose, because in your automatic payment there is a standard system validation which will verify whether the payment amount is sufficient with or is in line with your available amount or not. Your available amount must be always more than the payment amount that you are processing from APP. If your available amount is more than or equal to payment amount, it will allow you to process further. If not, it will stop you. Currently, the available amount is sufficient enough to make the process to process the payment of 3000. Based on this, system has performed all the checklist, all the validations. It has found everything is fine. Payment method is maintained. House bank system is able to determine based on the payment method and then currency. Available amount is sufficient to pass this 3000 rupees payment. Based on this, if you click on this green color symbol, it is giving you the option called payment. This is called as payment list. Point number one, you call it as payment list or proposal list if it is green color. Point number two, if it is red color, you call it as exception list. Let me go back now. If I go to on the top edit proposal, I have two options: proposal list, exception list. Exception list for any errors. Proposal list, let us select, click on enter. If you click on proposal list, this is what you are getting. System is giving you the data, how much amount you are going to pay from this payment run. This is your 3000. 3000 will be paid from this payment run. This is what you are going to get from the system when you select payment list. Payment list is the list for which there are no errors. System is going to pass the accounting entries. Go back. This is about your second P, which is your proposal. In general, we are not supposed to edit proposal unless and until this is required. When you're practicing, especially when you click on display proposal, if it is not coming as green, something is wrong. When you're practicing, when you click on display proposal, by default, if you're not getting a green, do not proceed further. Try to understand why your proposal is not coming out as green, why it is coming out as red. You have to understand all the possible reasons why your proposal is coming as red and what you need to do to make it green instead of going inside edit proposal. If you go inside the edit proposal, you can change it manually, but that manual change is not allowed, is not permitted, because now you're executing a payment run for single invoice. But when you're in the actual project, when you're working in the real environment, this APP will be executed for multiple vendors, maybe 200 vendors, 500 vendors, 1000 vendors. Your invoices may be 1000 invoices, 2000 invoices, 500 invoices. Data will be huge. If you're telling your client to go to edit proposal, you can change, double click, reallocate. Nobody will do it, because that is not the way of doing it, the automatic payment program. It has to become green by default. If it is becoming red, there should be a valid reason. There should be a valid reason why it is becoming red, because your client will ask you why my proposal is coming as exception, why it is giving red, why I need to change every time in the edit proposal, why system is not taking by default whatever is to be paid. There you need to analyze. To do the analysis, you must understand on what basis system is selecting your open items, on what basis it is deciding whether this is a payment list green or exception list red. Okay, point number one, when you click on display proposal, it must be green like this. If it is not green, something is wrong. You need to understand why it did not become green. Go back. If it is red, go to edit, proposal, delete proposal. Make sure why you got that error. If you wanted to understand why you are getting the error, once you see this as green, it is fine. If you find it as red, immediately read display proposal log. Open the display proposal. It will keep updating the log here. It will keep on updating the log. Look at this log and try to understand why error messages are coming. If you read this log thoroughly and if you try to understand, you know majoritarily why system is giving this as exception list, why system is giving this payment cannot be processed. Go back. Next one is your third P, which is payment run. Once proposal is created and proposal is verified, next thing is to go for third P, which is your payment run. If you click on payment run, system is going to pass the accounting entries, in short, the payment document. Click on payment run. Here also same thing. You should always select start immediately. Click on continue. Schedule. Payment run is running. Click on refresh the status. It is giving a message, one generated, one completed, which means in your proposal, there is one payment which is to be processed. If you look at the payment log, it is telling posting order, one generated and then one completed. You need to make sure your posting log or posting order is properly given. Sometimes certain documents will get posted, certain documents will not get posted. You need to understand why some documents are getting posted, why some are not getting posted, along with the reasons and what you need to do to rectify those errors. Next one, once you complete the payment, you can check the payment log here. Display payment run log. If I tick this, this will give you the payment document that is generated, the accounting entry that is posted. It has posted a debit with posting key 25. This GL account, which is vendor account 100111. This is your amount in local currency, amount in group currency. It has credited bank GL account, amount in local currency, amount in group currency. Go back. Once you click on the payment run, fourth P will get enabled, which is your printout. Once you complete the third P, which is your payment run, fourth P, printout is enabled. When you click on this printout, you will be generating either check or the payment file. Either check or payment file. In short, the payment medium will be generated. If your payment method is check, check will be generated. If your payment method or if your payment medium is bank transfer, this bank transfer file will be generated. If you are using DME, DME file will be generated. If you are using any customized program, any customized functionality for payment letters, then according to that custom process, your payment file will be generated. Not everybody will use DME. Some will use DME, some will use customized process. Instead of DME, they customize the payment process. So that we will see later on, because before you come to printout, We need to understand the different scenarios. We must be in a position to execute APP for all possible scenarios. This is one case wherein you need to do it. But in this case, what we did, we did not update payment method in vendor master. We updated payment method in transaction level. If you update payment method in transaction level, system is accepting it and it is taking it into payment list, not into the exception list. Next, what I am going to do, I am going to change the vendor master now. If you look at the vendor master, inside the vendor master, there is no payment method assigned. Inside the payment method, there is nothing which is assigned. Let me go to this vendor. Currently, we are on change display method. Let us switch to change method. For that, click on this icon. Switch between display and change. Now we are on change organization, in short, change vendor. Here you input payment method 5. You can input multiple payment methods without any spaces. You're not supposed to put any space. If you have payment method starting from 5, A, B, C, D, just keep entering without any space, without any comma, without any separator. As of now, we have payment method 5. I am giving payment method 5. I'll click on save. Okay, changes have been saved. Next, I will create one more invoice. Now I made some changes in the master data. I want to pass one more entry. To pass one more entry, I need to make sure I will copy another document, which is this. The previous document I will copy where there is no payment method predefined. I'll take this document number, copy, and to copy a document, any screen you can use F-02 or FB01, F-43. I'll go to F-43, click on post with reference, select post with reference, select the invoice number from which you want to copy the transaction. I want to copy the document from this, click on continue. Exactly this is how you're supposed to test when you're in a project. You're not supposed to pass F-43 vendor account, GL account, amount and all. You will not be posting manually. You need to take one existing document, copy it, make changes according to your requirement. Enter. I'll select APP3. Enter. I'm not changing anything. I'm fine with 10,000 amount. I'll click on post. Point number to be noticed. Inside the vendor line item, currently there is no payment method. At the transaction level, there is no payment method assigned. I am saving this. Enter. In the in the invoice transaction, there is no payment method, but payment method is updated in the vendor master data. Earlier, when we got the error message, you have noticed in the exception list, it is giving payment method 5 is not maintained either in master data or in transaction data, which means in previous scenario, we put payment method in invoice level. If you put payment method at invoice level, system has accepted, it did not give any error. In this scenario, I am not giving payment method at invoice level. Instead, I am giving payment method at vendor master level. In the master data, I have given payment method and I have saved it. Let me execute another APP. Let me execute another APP to execute one more automatic payment program. Now, whatever you are doing, this is called as testing. Whatever you're doing here, this is called as a testing. In the development system, once you perform the configuration, as a consultant, you have to test everything yourself. Nobody will sit with you. You need to sit alone. You need to test everything. For you to sit alone and then test, you need to have all the detailed scenarios, all the possible situations. Once you have that list, when you're testing, do not input everything as fresh every time that you do. By doing it, you are going to take a lot of time and you are not working in a smart way. Now you have to create one more testing, for which you need to keep the same date. The APP identification I'll change as APP2. APP2, same thing I am going to test. Once I give this, I'll go to parameter. Parameter also I can copy. I don't want to input company code, payment method, next payment every time. I know that whenever I run the payment, I will be running it for all the vendors or selected vendors with the same criteria. I don't want to type this thing every time. I don't want to type additional log and all every time. Instead, I want to copy these things. To copy these things, on the top left hand side, you will find an option called copy parameters. You will find an option called copy parameters. Click on this copy parameters. When you click on this copy parameter, it will give a pop-up. It will ask you select from which payment run you want to copy the parameters. You know that your payment run was today, identification is APP1. This is your payment run 30/06/2023 APP1. You must know what is your previous payment run or what is your payment run which you have created previously. Give that and you select adjust date details, which means it will copy the information. It will put these dates as current dates by default. 30/06/2023, 30/06/2023. Next payment is 01/07/2023. If I go to additional log, in the additional log also everything is automatically updated, which means this is how you need to practice even when you do it for yourself. It's not that in the real time they will do something else. While practicing, I want to know, I will practice everything one by one, then your practice is wrong. This is how you are going to test, this is how you are going to show, this is how you are going to train your user. Your user also is going to tell why I need to copy every time, or why I need to type all this information every time, why cannot I copy paste. Then you need to show them, you need to do this option. Okay, now click on copy, save it. Now your proposals are created, sorry, your parameters has been created by copying from existing parameter. Next one, click on proposal. Now the expectation when you click on the proposal here is by default system will give you your proposal in green highlight, which means payment list. You will not get any exception, any red light, because you have maintained payment method in master data. There is no payment method in transaction data. Let us click on continue to see what is going to happen. Proposal has been created. Let us click on display proposal. If I see display proposal, system is not detecting this, or system has thrown an error message which talks about there is no payment method. If you see payment method, if I go right side, payment method is not detected. As a result, house bank account ID are also not detected. These things will get detected only if your payment method is updated. These things will get detected only if payment method is updated. Now, since there is no payment method in this, system is not updating the payment or the invoice as proposal list. Instead, it is telling this is as an exception list. When you put payment method in the master data, it is not flowing to your transaction data. As a result, your proposal is becoming exception. Now, to handle this exception, what you need to do, you need to go back, delete this proposal, go to edit, proposal, delete, yes, and next you need to play with your vendor line item report. Come back, keep open items only, run the report. You are able to see one invoice which is outstanding, and immediately go to change layout. And from this change layout, you need something called payment method. Let's go to P and payment method. Here is your payment method. Keep this payment method, add it next to document number somewhere, copy and then save this layout. Even in your layout for your system, for your practice, make sure your payment method is part of your layout. This is mandatory. Currently, there is no payment method. When there is no payment method at the transaction level, system will not understand whether this is to be processed under payment method 5 or not. Right? System is always going to take the payment method from the transaction level, not from the master level. Master data is only to represent that these kind of payment methods are applicable or available for this particular vendor. Now here you need to update payment method. Let's say you may be having multiple invoices wherein payment method is not updated. In that case, one by one updating payment method is not possible solution. In such cases, what you will do, you will perform something called mass change. You will do something called mass change. To do mass change, you need to select the invoices that you want to edit or change. Option number 1, you can select one by one. Option number 2, you will have an option called select all. If you do a right click, you get an option called select all. In short, the shortcut key is F5. If you press F5, by default, system will select everything. Let me press F5 on the keyboard. Automatically, it will select everything. Once your invoices are selected, on the top, you will find an icon this called mass change. Click on this icon called mass change. Click this. You get a pop-up message screen appearing on the screen. From here, you need to update payment method. Currently, payment method that you have is 5 and you want to update 5 in all the transactions or in all your invoices. Put payment method 5. Click on execute changes. Now changes have been saved. If you go to top list, refresh, you will see payment method is now updated with 5. Like this, if you do, whether you have one invoice or you have multiple invoices, in one click you will be able to update all the payment methods or certain information in the vendor transaction level. Once this is updated, let us come back to automatic payment program. Now let us execute proposal. If I click on proposal, continue, enter. Now proposal has been created. Since your transaction contains the payment method, let us verify the display proposal now. Now if you see, this has become green. So when you practice, slowly you have to understand how system is working, how system is behaving, how errors are coming, what you are doing to avoid the errors. All these errors that you are able to see on the APP is what you're able to see, or is what you're supposed to get from your project, is what you're supposed to get from your users. And especially in your interviews, they are more focused on errors. What kind of errors you got in your APP? How did you resolve the errors? Because everybody knows what to configure in APP, but they are more focused on what kind of errors you got, why this error message is coming, or why it is not becoming exception list or proposal list, what did you do? All these kind of questions they are going to ask you. Even before they ask, they want you to tell what kind of errors you worked on APP. Further, no other option. When you practice, you must practice with all the possible errors, and you will understand why each error is coming. This is first point. Second point, you are not supposed to keep the edit proposal. This is an exception case. It's not that every time you go to edit proposal and then you will complete the payment. You are not an end user. You have not been given any task to complete this payment. Something is error. Who will raise a support ticket now? I will simply go to edit. I'll edit the data. If I'm an end user, I am thinking that way. It makes sense, because if I am getting any error, red color symbol, I don't know what to do. What I need to do, I need to raise a ticket to support team. I have to send an email to SAP Fico consultant or SAP Fico team. Dear team, while processing APP, this is what error message we are getting, or we are unable to make the payment. Fico consultant will open this. He will ask the user to give the screenshot or run date and identification. As a Fico consultant, you will open F110 on your production system. You will input run date identification. You will check proposal has been created, but it is in red. you will go to display proposal log here as a consultant. You will try to read this and then you will be checking why the error messages are coming, what is missing. According to that, you are going to respond, you are going to instruct your user, payment method is not updated, please go to this and then update. Your user may tell, no, I have around 300 invoices to be paid. If you know, you can tell update payment method from vendor line item report using mass change functionality, or you can tell no other option, you have to go to FB0 to 500 times, put document number, fiscal year, company code, edit line item, double click on vendor, put the vendor payment method and then save it. You may tell like this, you may tell the other way also. It depends. You will find different people working in the real environment. Some people who know how to work, some people who do not know how to work. Right? They will be simply going in the different way, which will take long time because they may not be aware there are different ways of doing it. But when you work, you need to ensure that you work in the right approach. You work in a way, you instruct in such a way that the other person will not point out to you that you are wrong. Wherever you are working, wherever you are making sure that whatever you are explaining, whatever you are telling is accepted by the other person. Right? Now payment proposal has been created. Next thing is to click on payment run. If I click on payment run, it will get processed. But now I'm not clicking on payment run. I want to create one more invoice. I want to create one more invoice, which I'll create by copying this. I'll copy 8. I'll make another invoice. Post with reference. If you see, I'm not passing the invoices. I'm only copying the invoice document numbers. When you practice, do the same thing. Amount also 10,000. I'll save it. Let me copy one more invoice. Save it. Click on post. Now I posted 3 invoices. Let me refresh the vendor line item report. Go to list. Click on refresh. 3 invoices I posted. If you see, all the 3 invoices are having payment method number 5. Now I want to make a payment run for this vendor. When you have 3 invoices, each invoice is outstanding of 10,000. The total outstanding, the total amount that I am supposed to pay to my vendor is 30,000. Total outstanding that I am supposed to pay to the vendor is 30,000. Normally, if it is a check payment or if it is a transfer payment, let us assume it is a check payment. If this is a check payment, if your outstanding is 30,000, are you going to write 3 separate checks for 10,000 each, or are you going to write one single check for 30,000? What we will do normally? Do you issue a single check for 30,000 or you issue 3 separate checks for 10,000 each?
Single check.
One check for 3.
You will give a single check for 30,000. Now, for system to do this, you need to handle these cases. These are all called as your scenarios. If I have 3 invoices, now according to us, you'll have to pay 3 invoices separately, or according to us, you may have to pay these 3 invoices together. Scenario number 1, your vendor is asking, please give me separate check for each invoice. He is telling, I want separate check for this 10,000. I want a separate check for this 10,000. I want a separate check for this 10,000. In short, your vendor is expecting 3 checks, or your vendor is expecting 3 separate bank payments. Transfer this 10,000 separately, transfer this 10,000 separately, transfer this 10,000 separately. This is point number 1. Point number 2, he is telling, please send the total outstanding, the total amount in single payment, 30,000 in one check or 30,000 in one transfer. For that to happen, you need to check by default what system is going to do. Whether system is going to create these 3 invoices as one or these 3 invoices as 3 separate. For that, let us go to the payment run again. If you look at the display proposal, currently this proposal is showing only 10,000 because when we created a proposal, there was only one invoice. After creating a proposal, there were 2 more invoices. Now at this stage, let's assume that one user has come up and then he said, no, we need to edit the proposal. There are additional invoices to be processed. Because your payment run will undergo approvals. In any organization, whoever is performing this payment, this will go for approvals. Your payments will have to be approved by the treasury team, or it will have to be approved by the finance team. So they have to approve to process these payments. For that, the user who is executing the payment run will be selecting the proposal list, and then he will take a printout of proposal list. He will give it to the payment team or treasury team for the review. These are all the vendors for which we are going to make the payment. Each vendor is going to receive this much amount against these invoices. This proposal list will be downloaded and given to the treasury team or payable team or finance team for their verification and then confirmation. Let's say now somebody said, no, we have more invoices to be paid, not only 10,000. Then what I will do, I will come back. Point number one, I can continue this as it is. I can create one more payment run to include the remaining two payments. But is that a valid approach? I'll complete this as it is. I will create one more payment run for APP3 to include the remaining two. That is not the valid approach. That is not the valid approach, and you will get these kind of a scenario based questions in your interviews. So what you need to do, since the payment is not yet released for this, payment run is not yet executed, delete the proposal. To delete the proposal, go to edit on the menu, click on proposal, delete. Yes. And now run the proposal once again to make sure the current outstanding list as on this time will be included. Enter, proposal has been created. If you click on display proposal, now our intention is to show 30,000. Now if you see, the payment has become 30,000. If you see, payment has become 30,000. Let me go back. I'll click on payment run. Continue. Enter. How many payment orders generated? How many payment orders completed?
One.
Only one. If I look at the payment log, it has processed single document for 30,000, correct? It has processed single
Yes.
document for 30,000. Now, next requirement what I want to have is, I want to have separate payment for each document. I don't want system to combine like this. I want system not to combine. I want system to process separate payment for each invoice, because my requirement is to pay separate payment. Separate check I need to issue, or separately I need to transfer the funds. I don't want like this. I want for every invoice a separate payment document. In that case, you have to work in a different way. Let's say in that case, if you go to your payment configuration FBZP, go to payment methods in country, select your payment method 5. In this, check if you have anything which is related to separate payment. Do you find any option representing separate payment? Outgoing payment and all is there. There is nothing related to separate payment. Let's go back. Next, open payment method in company code. Select your company code. And here, do you find anything for separate payment?
It's a single payment for marked items.
So you have something called single payment for marked item. Select this, and whenever you are working on this, always make sure you select that respective field, click on F1 on the keyboard, or click on this question mark. Right? If you click on this question mark, it will tell you what is going to happen if you enable this. And you must read through this. You're not supposed to Google it. Causes open item which contains this payment method to be paid individually. It is telling one payment per item. All items for which the payment method so indicated is entered explicitly and are paid individually. Now let me cancel this. I have enabled this. Let me save it. Enter. Now you have to be a little careful about cancelling the payments also. It's not only about creating the payment, it is also about cancelling the payment. Now what is the payment document that got generated for 3 invoices? 20 all zeros 2, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is our payment document number. Copy this payment document number. Copy. Next thing, go to your vendor outstanding line item. Refresh the open items. Are there any open items, or open items are cleared automatically? Your open items are automatically cleared. Now our intention is to cancel the payment, bring back those 3 invoices as it is, because your client is telling it has processed one single document for 30,000, which we do not want. When you are practicing, it is easy. You will create 3 more documents and then you will process it, correct? If you are practicing, it is very easy. You will ignore whatever is already processed. You will create 3 more invoices and you will perform one more time APP. You will verify whether it is working or not. But this is only practice environment. But in the real environment, that will never be the case. He will tell this 30,000, whatever is processed, please cancel this. I want to cancel this 30,000 payment. I want to make sure that these 3 invoices will have 3 separate payment documents generated. For that, no other option. You need to know how to cancel the payments that are already processed. Any payment that is already processed, in short, your payment entry is called as clearing entry, because your payment is going to clear the invoice. Any payment entry, in short, any clearing entry that you are talking about will have to be reset and then reverse. You have to do a reset and then reverse. To do reset and reverse, you need to open FBRA transaction. Go to FBRA, enter. Here you need to give clearing document, which is your payment document, year 2023. Before you do anything, click on account. This clearing document is related to vendor 1001111. Continue. Next, click on items. This will tell you how many items are involved in it. It has got 3 invoices involved in it, 10,000 each. Payment amount is 30,000. This is what I want to cancel, so that these 3 invoices will become outstanding, will become open again. Come back. Let me click on save. I want to make sure I reset and then reverse. Invoices and the payment connection will be reset and payment document will be reversed. Click on reset and reverse. You will get another question. What is the difference between reset and then reset and reverse? So when you're practicing, you need to experiment all these scenarios and make sure you practice until you're comfortable, until you know what it is, until you are able to explain to the other person. Until that, you need to practice. To do that, whether you practice 2 times or 10 times, it depends on you. If you are able to understand, you are able to explain to the other person. When you practice 2 times, it is fine. But if you are able to explain only if you practice 5 times or 6 times, no other option, you need to practice 5 times. Reset has been done. Now let us run the report of the vendor. Now if you see, those 3 invoices are appearing again open. Right? Even when you practice, you have to practice like this, the way we are doing it now. Don't leave it as it is and then don't create another 3 invoices, test there. That's a different story. But what about the existing errors that have happened? In real time, you're not going to tell your user post 3 more invoices and then do it again. Then he will tell, what about the previous postings? So that is where you need to be very, very careful. Now setting has been updated. Let us process the APP again. How do we process APP again? Should I create one more APP or I need to delete all this information? First of all, once your payment is processed, Can we delete payment here? Is it recommended or not recommended? Can I delete payment from here? Let me click on delete. If I click on delete, it is telling after deleting the payment data, it is no longer possible to create payment media file for the payment run. Do you still want to continue with the payment data deletion? It is telling if you delete this, you cannot generate the payment medium. When it is telling you cannot generate the payment medium, if you want to generate checks or if you want to generate bank transfer letters, that are not possible. Now, why are you deleting? You are deleting for a reason. You are deleting for a reason, which is 3 invoices have been paid together instead of paying separately or instead of paying individually. That is a requirement. You wanted to delete it and you want to reprocess it. According to you, it is correct. You can delete it. But you need to look at your payment run also. In this payment run, are you executing payment only for that particular vendor and only for those 3 vendors, or there are other vendors also? If there are other vendors, then did you reverse all other payment documents manually? No. If not, you're not supposed to delete this. In short, this is not recommended. Whatever is reversed, what you need to do, you need to go and then process another payment run, for which I'll put app number 3. I'm not deleting it because that is not right approach. Go to parameter. I don't want to enter this. I want to copy my parameters. To copy the parameters, on the left hand side, click on this. Copy parameters. I want to copy from this. Enter. Straight away you can proceed to save. Straight away click on proposal. Enter. Now slowly you have to start increasing your speed of testing. Click on display proposal. It is giving 3 invoices and it is showing you 3 things. Now anybody noticed any change here? Are you able to see any change here on the display proposal? Display proposal. No.
Previously it displayed only single line items. Now it will display 3 line items.
Right. Earlier it was displaying a single line item for 30,000. Now I'll show that. F110. Previous one was APP2. F110. Let's open this. So all these small points you need to remember, because these are the small points that you are going to be questioned in your interview. It sounds very simple, easy, but this is what they try to put a question, and they will check whether you are sure, you are confident or not. Let's go to app number 2. I closed it. Yeah. App number 2. If I go to display proposal, in this previous one, if you see, you are able to see one thing, and it has displayed the total amount of 30,000 here. This also you need to actually create a layout that I'll show in the next class, so that every time you don't have to move here and there. In the previous proposal, when the setting was not changed, it was giving the total outstanding in single line. Correct? Now, if you see the revised APP proposal list, it is giving you this 30,000 in these 3 separate lines. Now, for every line, there will be a separate payment process. If you have 3 lines for the same vendor, is system going to generate 3 payment documents or a single payment document? It is going to generate 3 payment documents. Let me go back. I'll click on payment run, continue, enter. Now, if you see for 3 invoices, 3 separate payments are generated. If you have 3 separate payments, you can create 3 separate checks or you can create 3 separate bank transfers. If you have one payment document number, one document cannot have 3 payments. In short, one document cannot have 3 checks. One document cannot have 3 transfers. Your transfer is always based on each payment document or your check is always based on each payment document. Clear this one? Single payment and multiple payments for vendor.
Yes,
Is
sir.
this clear? Now, likewise, each point we need to enable, we need to understand what is the purpose of it. We have to make sure you will create a scenario and then you will see the difference practically. If you tick what is happening, if you don't tick what is happening. Literally, in your interview, they want you to explain these points with examples. If you tell this, if you use this is what happens, they are not okay. They want you to explain what happens in the system if you put this. Without this, what will happen? With this, what will happen? You can tell this one as one of your support ticket. Even though this is a simple enabling and disabling of a tick box, this is a valid support ticket that you can talk in your interview. Clear? Any questions so far?
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, in that scenario where we have one line items for 3 invoices, you created one proposal and generated. After that, you reversed that, but however, it was already generated. So for that generated proposal, payment should have been released, or because it has been already generated, but after that we reversed. So
Correct.
what? So in that case, because we have not deleted that proposal, so payment, what's the impact of that?
If your payment document is reversed from your backend database, it will not be able to detect the payment for it. So that I'll show in the upcoming sessions how do you analyze your payments, because you need to play with the tables when you're processing automatic payment run. Once we are familiar with this execution testing, then I will show you how to you play with tables, because APP is all about playing with the tables in the backend. You have REGUH, REGUP, REGUC tables. These tables you need to understand how you have to read the data coming from this table, because tomorrow if you want to work on this automatic payment program for generating any check or for generating any bank transfer letters, either using DME or even if you are using customized program for generating bank letters, you have to be well versed with automatic payment program tables which will update the data in backend. So there I am going to explain all these points. If you reverse, how it will affect your table. If you don't reverse, how this will affect the table.
Okay, means it should have some buffer time. Means after, suppose we have generated, and after some time it will uh, allow us to reverse, and it will release the payment, kind of.
Not like that. Nothing
Okay.
like that. If you go to
Okay.
SE16N, if I select REGUH run on today, which is 30/06/2023, that was your APP2, correct?
Yeah.
If I execute, X is the proposal, ignore the X. Without X, it is the actual run. If I go right side, What is the payment amount you are able to see?
30,000.
Do you have the payment document?
Yes.
You have the payment document. And now let me open APP3. Now these three, wherever you have X, these are all only the proposal runs. Ignore them. They will not have any payment document number. They will always contain F110 followed by payment sequence. In this, if you see, you are able to see the payment amount here.
Yes, sir.
10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Now here, whenever you do these kind of changes in your automatic payment program, let's say something you are deleting, something you are modifying. So you have to always consider the subsequent impact of what you are doing on APP. Because if you do this, let's say this you will be able to practically understand once we start check processing. There you need to understand whether this document contains check number in the backend table or not. Because whenever you complete the APP, system will allot a check number,
Yes, sir.
right? Now you reversed it and then you are reprocessing it again. When you are reprocessing it again, system is going to create another document for the same invoice because invoice has been opened up. In that case, are we going to open the check number again? Is system going to allot another check number for the same document?
No.
If yes, it will be a duplicate check, right? You have
Yes,
for
yes.
vendor, for one vendor, 4 checks. One check for 30,000, three separate checks for 10,000 each. But actually there are only three invoices of 30,000. You ended up creating checks for 60,000,
Right, sir.
right? So these things I'll show practically on the system, because if we talk about this theoretically, that will create unnecessary confusion. We will see them practically so that it's easy for you to understand what exactly is happening in the system, what points we need to consider, what we are supposed to do, what we are not supposed to do.
Okay,
Clear?
sir. Yes, sir. And one thing more, sir. In invoice, earlier we were changing the text and assignment after posting that invoice. And today, in your scenario, you have changed, updated the payment method. So, what are the things except this text and assignment? Now you have updated the payment method. So, what are the
Select
other things? Yeah.
select the invoice, click on mass change on the top. If you click on mass change, whatever the fields you are able to see here, all these fields can be updated from the vendor transaction.
Okay.
Okay, you
Okay.
just select any one invoice from the display vendor line item report, click on mass change, you get the list of fields that can be updated or amended.
Okay.
Okay,
Got it. Got it.
yeah,
Thank you, sir.
all right. Any other questions? Make sure you practice these things in the same way that we're doing, right? You have to process it with different errors. You have to get different confusions. You have to clear the different errors, different confusions. Only then you will be able to work confidently. You will be able to talk. You will be able to face your interview questions effectively, confidently on your interview. Otherwise, if you practice only FBZP, if you create, make the payments and then run the report, that is not going to help you in your interview first point. That is not at all going to help you in the real time. That is a different story, because you get different scenarios coming up from your real time. When you're in a project, you will get different scenarios wherein sometimes you will go mad understanding what it is. Because when you're in a project, it is not about creating FBZP config, it's not about executing F110. It's about understanding the automatic payment program functionality process in the real environment based on practical business scenarios. Clear? And remember,
Yes.
no interview is complete without a question without a discussion on F110 or automatic payment program. Mandatory topic to be asked in every interview, irrespective of your level of experience.
Ajay,
Yes.
Ajay, like you have selected an FBZP's accident individual payment per marked item. Instead of this, if I will select in vendor master data individual payment, I can generate 3 documents, right?
Yes, that is at master level. This is at overall payment level. That I'm going to show in the next session. Because
Okay.
currently we are doing, or currently we are testing only with single vendor account. So in the next session, so I'm going to add multiple vendors. I'm going to complicate different scenarios. I'll put different invoices. I will tell only selected invoices to be processed, certain invoices not to be picked up in your automatic payment program. Okay.
Or if I will post, suppose if I will post 10 invoices, while posting 10 invoices, again I will come to line item and in mass changes I will select payment term. Then also I think it will generate different document for all 10, like 10.
No, it depends on at what stage you are changing and what field you are changing, and when you are making these changes, at what stage you are at your APP, and how many entries you are processing in your APP, because changing and then redoing APP is not allowed, because frequent changes are not supposed to happen. Before you run your automatic payment program, you need to ensure the person whoever is working on APP is supposed to ensure he will pull out all the outstandings. He will validate before he gives the final proposal list to the management for review and then approval. Because if we are executing, we cannot complete just like that. The way we are practicing now, you click on proposal, you verify the proposal, you click on payment. But in the real environment, whatever the proposal list that you get, you need to take a printout of the proposal list. Two ways. Option number one, you can create a workflow for this automatic payment program. The moment proposal is created, it will go for the workflow approval to the management. Let's say somebody in the treasury team or somebody, they'll go to this, they'll verify the proposal list, they will approve from there. Only once they approve, you will be able to make the payment. This is one way. The other way is you will have to download the proposal list and send it to the respective person who is supposed to authorize the payment. Now, if you make any changes, once you receive the authorization from the respective approved person, you're not supposed to make any changes. If you are supposed to make any changes, you need to obtain the approvals to include or exclude additional content in the payment run, because according to them, the payment approved is XYZ amount for these many vendors. But if there are any changes, these changes must be aligned with the authorized personnels. Clear?
Clear, Ajay. No, but like what I am suppose this is the requirement. So I will suggest to the end user while posting an invoice or the team lead to select in line item all must change and select the payment individual payment. Then it will, I think, then it will generate different document for each invoice.
Correct. Normally, this requirement is vendor specific, either vendor
Okay.
specific or company specific. Two possibilities. If it is vendor specific, you need to make sure who are all the vendors which are expecting separate payment. Normally, your vendors are not okay with this. They will tell, why are you sending me 10 checks? You could have sent me one check. Correct? Huh? Why you
Yeah,
transferred
yeah.
it 10 times? You could have transferred a single payment. Sometimes your vendor will tell, why are you giving me consolidated check? I'm not able to understand why you give me 1 lakh check. This 1 lakh check is for which invoice? I don't know. Better you pay me invoice versus separate payment. If you have 10 invoices, please give me 10 checks. I don't mind depositing 10 checks separately in my bank. But please don't give me payments for the consolidated amount. One vendor may tell like this, one vendor may tell like that. Sometimes your company will strictly tell, we will process the consolidated payments only as per our policy. This is our company's corporate policy that we are not supposed to issue two transfers. We are not supposed to issue two checks for a single vendor on a single date. If you want another check, please tell me which invoice you want to process today, which invoice you want to process tomorrow. Because one day I am not supposed to issue not more than one check to a particular person. Clear? So these things
Clear.
are called as your policies. So each company will have their own policy. According to their payment policy, they will be working. So any possibility is possible because your client or your vendor may have any possibility. So according to the requirement, according to the policy, we will have to guide, we will have to suggest your business or your users accordingly.
Ajay, one more
Clear?
thing. Is it possible? Yeah, clear. Is it possible? Can I select the payment term through tables?
Payment term through
Tables of APP.
you can select, I believe. It should be stored somewhere. Discount is here. Sequence number. Payment reference. Payment code. REGUP. Payment method. Just check if you find payment terms here. It should be there because it is giving you days net. Here it is, payment terms. REGUP. Okay.
Yeah. Sir, I just wanted to know the table of, see, in the beginning that you said, no, sir, for the cost element based on the cost center, we are going to upload business plans. So in which table we can get that report, sir?
Table for your business plan.
Yes, sir, business plan.
The
CS,
KP06 is where you are uploading.
yes, yes, sir.
That you can take it from FAGL, sorry, yeah, FlexT, Faggle FlexT. Go to Faggle FlexT, put your fiscal year, okay,
Okay.
and down below you will find the transaction type, not transaction type, record type. Here you select version is 0
Ah,
and record type. Open the drop down, you will find planned records. Select a plan because that's the plan data that you uploaded,
yes.
and put your company code, cost element, cost center, and then click on execute. You'll
So
get the data from here.
if I don't put the company code cost element, can I able to get all the data at a
You
time?
get everything. Yes.
I have one. I need to do one some small enhancements, sir. For that, I was checking for this table.
Yes, thus data will come and sit here
Okay.
because your cost elements are part of GL accounts now.
Yes, sir. I have another question. See, for the GL, the balance sheet GL, we can't able to extend to cost element, right, sir? As a cost element.
No, not possible. But you can assign the cost center, but cost element cannot be extended.
No.
While posting, only for the reporting purpose, they can assign the cost center. But this cost center will not go to controlling. This cost center will be updated only in the FI reports.
I have some requirements, sir. I'll ping you in WhatsApp. If possible, just help me
Oh,
with
yeah,
suggestions.
sure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, then let me stop this recording.